Alright guys, welcome to the first video that I'll be doing for the Python series. This video is just going to be a brief overview of how to get the software on your computer and some basic stuff like floats, integers, strings of text, and how to print. That's basically what I'll be going over, and well, I guess I'll start now. First off, you want to open up your browser and go to this website to get the program, www.python.org/get-it/. Here you'll see a list of all the installers. If you have a Windows machine, a 32-bit Windows machine, you want to get the 86 MSI installer. If you have a 64-bit, you want to get the 64 MSI installer. And of course Mac OS X and Linux users can find their appropriate installers or whatever here. I don't know how those work, but I'm pretty sure Mac OS X comes with Python installed on it already, so I don't think you would have to worry about that, but you Mac users know better than I do. So after you download and install that, go into your start menu and you'll see Python command line and idle GUI. I don't think you can see these exactly from here because HyperCam is acting odd. So I'm just going to open both of them up and show you how they both look. We're probably not going to deal with the command line for this setup for these sets of tutorials. We might come back to them later if people demand, but I think they're a little too advanced for some of these basic, more basic programmers that I'm trying to address with this. This is basically you can run some functions on this and stuff, but you need to know your directories and stuff before you can handle this. Linux users are probably a bit more comfortable with this because they're used to it, but if you're a Windows user, this probably just looks like the command window to you, and you probably kind of think it's overwhelming. But we can come back to this later if you guys want. We're going to be dealing with the idle, which is the command GUI, Python GUI. First thing to know about the idle is that it's a really simple window. Here you can see that we're in interactive mode. There's two modes, interactive mode and script mode. Here you can see interactive mode because you know it's interactive mode because these three arrows right here, they signify that you're in interactive mode, and whatever you enter here and press enter will run immediately. So it's basically like a calculator, but you can do other things with it. So print, and you can just like do some stuff here. The other mode would be the script mode, which is for more advanced script writing. You can do a bunch of stuff in here that you probably wouldn't be able to do here. I mean, you can probably, if you're more advanced and more comfortable with Python, you'd be able to do just as much over here in the interactive mode, but the script mode is a little easier for debugging. I prefer this when I'm writing my functions. But we'll come back to script mode a little later. Now, when we're starting off with Python, you want to know that there are three types of characters in Python: integers, floats, and strings. Integers are basically numbers, like you've learned in math class. They're whole numbers that exist anywhere on the number line. So, for instance, 1 is an integer. However, floats, on the other hand, although they carry the same numerical value as integers, they are different. They have decimals in them. So, for instance, 1 is an integer, but 1.0 is a float. They're different. You don't believe me? Here, let's prove it. So, type is a function that tells you what kind of characters that you have. Okay? So, type 1 here, it gives me int. That shows that it's an integer, right? And if you type again 1.0 this time, you see it's a float. The last type is a string, which is basically a string of text, which is, I don't think it's a difficult idea to grasp. So if I were to put quotation marks around something, it immediately becomes a string, like over here, this hello, this is a string of text. Type that, and it's a string. and you basically want to get used to these because you'll probably be seeing these a lot. They're a little important when it comes to Python. Python likes to make that distinction. Now, when it comes to assigning variables with numbers and whatever else, you can just do this. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, so on and so forth. However, when you want to find the values of these, you can just type A, B, C. Another way to do it would just be print A. However, you want to make the distinction between print A, as demonstrated over here, and print quotation marks A, quotation marks. That prints the letter A rather than giving you the value of A that we assigned over here, up here. So that's a fairly easy concept to grasp. Another thing to know about Python is that you're allowed to assign strings to numbers. So if I were to say A equals high, right? A is high. I can also do this. Oh, actually, I guess I can't. I'm actually used to using the Terraform GL that my university provides, and I think that runs on an older version of Python. So this is a little older than the function that the Python that I'm using. So this is a little newer. I'm sorry. This is a more recent version. You can also assign arrays to numbers like this. Make sure to separate them with commas with each. And now A is an array, and you can just print A, and it gives you the numerical values here for A equals, and that's that. Now, let's show you a little bit more on script mode. We can come back to interactive mode a little later, but since this is the first video, I'm not going to go into depth with all of this stuff. So here's script mode. Script mode is fancy. Not as fancy looking as the other mode, but you can tell that it's not the same because it doesn't have those 3 arrows that tell you that hey, you're in interactive mode. Here, basically, you can define functions and run them by calling them at the end. So before we get started, you want to know another thing about Python. It's really particular about how you write your functions. So you can't just write this, right? Like if you type it like this, and then you just call the function at the end. Right? This looks like a good line of code, right? This looks like a good block of code. It looks like it would run, but this won't run because this is a really crappily written code, and Python's like, no, you can't run this because you can't write code. So if you want to run this, you can just go into run module, or you can just hit F5, which I prefer doing because it's easier. Save it here. Here you see another one that I made. Unfortunately, my voice didn't record while I was making that one. So let's name this tutorial 2. See, like I said, it won't run. Now, if I were to go here, thing to note is here I didn't put a colon here to help me define the function. Now you would think, oh, now it's in proper running function. It should be a proper running function. Now if I hit F5, this won't run again. It says expected and indented block. This is because Python's a neat freak. It wants you to tab out every single function appropriately when you're writing your lines of code. Basically, this is for user friendliness. When people are writing your code, they don't want to see endless lines of code that don't end. Like in C++, when you're writing C++ codes, you can write them however you like, but Python, you have to be particular about how you write it. It's actually a good thing because it makes you have the habit of writing good, coherent, clean, and legible code. This is why Python is such a great programming language to start off when you're learning how to program. Because once you learn how to write neat code in Python, you can write neat code everywhere. So let's just run this. This will run. What did I ask it to do again? I forgot. Here we go. Hello. This usually takes a while if you run from script mode into the IO itself. Now, another thing to note is if you're running functions in script mode, you can actually run multiple functions at the same time. But the functions that are on top are generally executed before the functions on the bottom. So just F5 this. Source code must be saved. Takes a while to run. And here you see it ran hello before it ran multiple functions. Another thing to know is that you can actually print two different types of text at the same time. So if I were to say 1 plus 1 equals, if I want Python to say 1 plus 1 equals, what? No, why is it doing that? Okay, Python's made some really good improvements. I'm not accustomed to such a neat looking Python. So here I'm basically demonstrating that you can see that if I were to write this is basically going to say 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 2 equals 4. So this shows that Python runs all the functions that you described in one line at the same time, but it executes them in the order that you ask it to execute. It prints them in the order that you ask it to print them. So here it should say print equals 1 plus 1 equals 2 and 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? Source must be saved. Okay to save. Yes, it is. Let's see if you've got some good code or not. Yes, looks like we've got some good code. Not a difficult thing to grasp. Let's move on. If you want to create some spaces between your lines of code when you're executing functions for simplicity, you can try, but you won't succeed. Putting a space between your two codes here, and if you do this, Python won't recognize it. Python doesn't recognize these simple spaces. It'll run the same thing as over here. See here, same thing, even though they're not the same code, because there's an empty line between the two. But you can easily remedy that with hold on, these have to be indented properly. Okay, but if you leave an empty print, it should put a space between the two. Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically a few simple functions that are pretty neat in Python, and you can try out a bunch of stuff. You can play with the arrays and stuff, and you guys can try figuring out how to replace numbers, specific numbers, in an array with different numbers, commenting things out, and all of that stuff. You guys can try playing around with that. There's a help window here if you want to try to get ahead of my tutorials and see if you can learn some stuff before I show it on YouTube or whatever. In the next video, I'll probably be covering how to do all the aforementioned with the arrays and the commenting out and all of that stuff. So for now, I'm going to log out. I hope you guys learned something from this tutorial, and we'll be getting into some of the harder stuff next time. So stay tuned for next week, I guess. Yeah, see ya.